All right, hopefully you guys can hear me. Cool. All right, let me put this thing away. That was some wasps, for those who don't know, or attempt at playing wasps. I just learned that today, or actually tonight. So I'm doing a little story later we're going to talk about it, and wasp is part of the story. So I figured, why not try to play some wasp? All right, give me 1 second here. Let me just unhook myself with all this gear. It's gear time. Let's see. I guess I should put these headphones on so I can hear what you guys are hearing. Okay. Lana dun 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 day. There we go. Cool. Let me do this. And we're good there. Looks like we've got some sound. We got number 1 from Zach. So Zach gives me the number 1. That means we're good to go, folks. Not sure how the mix came across on that. It sounded like the guitar was a little loud, but I just kind of, like I said, last minute decision to try that song, and it's a pretty cool song. I had to use the drop pedal, and by the way, that reminds me I should turn that off, because the next song later that I play is in standard tuning, but that one is E flat, so I just use my drop pedal to down tune the guitar, which works out well when we're doing stuff like this. Okay. Let me get my bearings here. Everything's set up. Last week we didn't do a show. I didn't have my computer back from repair last week, and I was just doing a bunch of stuff, and I could have probably done it, but I just figured take the week off and wait till I get the computer back and get everything up and running, and that's what I decided to do. So there you go. Let me go up in the chat here. Make sure, if you guys want to tag me in the chat, just put an @ sign at 6string Brian. I'll see it come up in the chat, and then I'll be able to respond to any questions or comment that I need to respond to. How's that? And of course, we've got Zach Thong in the house, first guy in. How's it going, Zach? I promise, Zach, I will have a prize for you at some point, because you're always the first guy in all the chats that I'm in. My show or anybody else's show that I go in, you seem to be the first guy there. So I think you deserve a prize at some point. So let me work on that in 2021 for Zach. And we got Brian S. How's it going, Brian? Brian is going through guitars like crazy. Every time I look at his Facebook feed or his YouTube, there's a new guitar coming in and one going out or something. But cool stuff. Check out his channel. Brad Egan. Hey, Brad, I got Brad's email. I'm going to show you folks something from Brad. Brad sent me some cool photos today of something he's been working on for a while. Very cool, so stay tuned for that. Paul Liu, how's it going, Paul? Been a while. James Severin. See, James, we played the custom for you tonight. I figured, why not, right? It seems like a Wasp guitar. Like I was playing the Telly earlier, and I said, nah, I can't play Wasp with a Telly, so let me bring out the custom. Let me see who else we've got in here. We've got CN8800. How's it going? That's my buddy John from New Brunswick as well, in my part of the world, a little bit south of me. Let me see. Just go down real quick. Oh, the chat kind of jumped on me here, but that's okay. We'll get her figured out. We've got Jose Benito in the house. How's it going? Hope you're doing well in California. I know California has been crazy with the COVID situation and you guys got some major lockdowns happening. We just come out of a lockdown. We were locked down for 2 weeks, and today they announced that tonight at midnight, we're going into what they call red zone or whatever. That means that some stuff can open up and schools can open up again. The good thing for me is the trails can open up so I can go snowmobiling on the weekend, hopefully, unless there's some other outbreak that happens and they panic again and lock us all down. But that was the news today, that at midnight we're going back to the red level, and if everything stays solid, they'll bring us back down to the orange, which kind of frees up a little bit more of the restrictions. But yeah, it's been, you guys know what it is. You guys are all dealing with the same situation wherever you are. Some places are better than others, and it's just ridiculous at some points, but hopefully we get out of this. Let me just keep going down here. If I missed you, sorry, I'm just kind of going down real quick so we can get on with the show. Janice, how's it going? Janice Lala. I saw Janice on another show. I think it was Show Me Your Picks, I believe, or something on Saturday. That was cool. Guitar Man 45, how's it going? Oh, we got everybody's in the house tonight. Lefty Mike, how are you? Quentin James. Jamal, how's it going? Jamal's in the house. Haven't seen Jamal in a while. Dale Palmer, there you are, Dale. Yeah, we've got the whole gang in here tonight, so that's cool. Thanks for jumping in. So yeah, it's like I said, we're in our COVID situation. We're kind of, the cases are going down, so they're going to let us do a little bit more things, which is good, because I was getting a little frustrated with the whole situation, not being able to go snowmobiling. We had a storm that happened on the weekend. We got a lot of snow, which is perfect for going out and snowmobiling, but they couldn't go because the trails were all closed. So now that they open that, it looks like we'll hopefully get out on the weekend and get some much needed time out in the trails. So that's a good thing. Other than that, I got my computer back. Thank God. That MacBook was giving me a lot of issues. The battery was swelling, and they took the battery out, replaced that, and a couple of parts inside that were kind of stretching. They weren't broken, but they replaced them anyway. So the computer seems to be working okay, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that stays that way. I will be getting a new one in the summer as part of my 3-year budget cycle that I have for work. So my computer time is up in June. So I'll keep this one as a backup and get a new one. I'm looking at getting the new Macs, they've got a new chipset, a whole new chipset. So hopefully by this summer they come out with like version 2 of that, because I never like to buy version 1 of something brand new. So hopefully, because it's apparently very good and it's super fast for video editing and live streaming and all that stuff. So that'll probably be what I jump into at some point. Brian S. asked, let me see if I can bring Brian S. question here. Doom, right there. Does your custom have 498T? Yes, it does. That's exactly what it has in that in the pickups on the custom. They are 498T and 490R set, and they are great pickups, especially if we're playing. They're hot pickups, so they're good for playing high gain stuff, metal, heavier rock. So that's why I like doing that type of music on that guitar. So yeah, great pickups. I know those are the pickups that are in the new Gibson that you bought, which is the Les Paul Lite, which is a kind of a thin body Les Paul, really cool. So I believe those are the same pickups that are in your guitar. So let's go down the line here. See if I didn't miss anything, and we'll get on with the show. Janice says, what? What is Janice saying? They are thinking about New England states, including Connecticut, are thinking about changing to Atlantic time zone? Really? That's weird. Why would they do that? Because you guys are like just south of Quebec and Montreal in that zone, and that's all Eastern time zones. I wonder why they would want to change that to Atlantic time zone. I don't mind it. I mean, it's okay, but stuff like the Super Bowl yesterday. Let's talk about the Super Bowl. For us in Atlantic Canada, it starts at 6:30 Eastern, I think. For us, it's 7:30 Eastern. So everything runs really late when you're watching a hockey game that starts at 7. It starts at 8. So, things run a little late when you're an hour difference from Eastern time zones. So I don't know why they would be changing that. Football game was kind of a dud, I guess. I mean, great for Brady. I'm glad in a way that we're never going to see that again in our lifetime. Not my lifetime anyway. Somebody that can break that record. I mean, geez, 7 Super Bowls. He's appeared in 10 or 11. I mean, we're not going to see that again. I know a lot of folks don't like Brady or whatever, but you got to give it to him. The stats don't lie. He is the best in the game, in my opinion. So So that was something to watch. I don't know if you guys watched the halftime show with The Weeknd. I wasn't a big fan of that. I mean, I kept shaking my head throughout and going, what am I watching? I couldn't understand what was going on. But hey, whatever. If it floats your boat, that's fine. It just wasn't my thing. I would have thought this year, especially with the whole COVID situation, to kind of have a real rock band up there, to kind of bring back live music. And everybody's been dying to get out and seeing a concert and live music in front of a crowd. That would have been ideal, like to have a really good rock band out there, playing some rockin' music live, with real musicians, instead of having some guy running around dancing and lip syncing to stuff and he's a Canadian. I mean, I should be supporting him, but I just didn't get that whole performance. So, oh well, it is what it is. Let's see. Brad says, out comes the snowmobiles. Yes, Brad, we are going to be snowmobiling soon. Let me go down the list here. Brad has a question here for me, so I'm just trying to get to the questions and we'll get to the news. Question for your live stream. Obviously, you are using the MacBook. Are you streaming wirelessly or no? I'm hardwired into the internet connection, so it's a hardwired line and it's a fiber internet connection. But I mean, it doesn't have to be fiber. It's just as long as it's a good internet connection. I wouldn't be suggesting you use wireless because it's a little bit more flaky. Like when you're live streaming, you want a constant connection to kind of keep the bit rates going, and so wireless you can have a little bit more fluctuation, and that's not great for streaming. Some people can do it and they get away with it, but for me, I don't trust it that much, so I always try to be hardwired anytime I can when it comes to live streaming. Let's see, Brian S. has a question here. Yeah, I like them. I thought your playing tonight had the same sound to it. Yeah, they are definitely, their sound is unique. I mean, you know a custom or those pickups when you hear them, especially through a high gain amp. So the amp that I'm using today, well, it's a Helix, but the amp model is more like a Soldano type of amp. So you can tell pretty high gain, hot pickups work well in that. Okay, let me just, I don't know why that came up. Let's see. Jamal says, I hear that M1 chip has the base model Mac Mini outperform more. It does, Jamal. That's what I'm very impressed with the numbers. And even the ones that come with just 8 megs of RAM, you'd think that's crazy, but they're performing 4K video edits with no problem at all with that stuff. So I'm just looking forward to seeing what the next chipset is going to be, an M1X, which will be very powerful, and what you can do with it. If you're in music production, graphics production, video production, is going to be a great machine for that. All right, let's go down. I think I've got all the questions here. Let's see. The game was bad. The halftime was worse. Weekend is over. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. That's for sure. Hey, there we go. We got Gary Big G Tholander. How's it going, my friend? Glad to see you. Hope you're doing well. And Guitar Man 45 says he has lots of snow in Michigan. Cold. Yeah, it's getting colder here now. Like it's been kind of a mild winter for this part of the world, like New Brunswick, where I am. Usually winters are really, really brutal as far as cold and a lot of snow. This year we've just started getting cold. I think this week. We had maybe 1 week in January that was kind of colder, but it wasn't nothing like when I grew up here. Obviously, I remember very long winters and very cold and snowy winters, but this year it's been very different. So, I mean, it's a good thing in a way, but hey, there's a Spacey Jazzy Bluesy. Spacey Jazzy, send me that thing we talked about in the email. I do have my computer back, so if you want me to try something with that, just send it to me, and I'll try to give it a shot. Can't promise anything, but I'm willing to try something. Let's see, we've got Lars Guitars in the house too. Cool. All right, so everything's good. All right, so So let's, why don't we do some news if I can remember where my, all my buttons are here. We'll talk a few news items and we'll go from there. All right. So the reason I was playing Wasp was because I knew this movie was coming out. It's a documentary on Chris Holmes. Chris Holmes was a guitarist for Wasp for many, many years. Obviously, when they formed, he was in it. He's had quite the life. He's been through quite a lot of things. He's a pretty wild guy, you know. So he actually lives in France now, and he's been living in France with his girlfriend for the last maybe 10 years or so. And they recently, I guess over the last couple of years, he's been writing a book. He's not finished the book, but apparently they did a documentary movie on him. And it just came out. I don't know if it came out like just this month or whatever, but I see it. It looks like it's available on Prime Video. So for you guys that are looking at documentaries and music-specific stuff, for me, that era of the 80s was huge for me. I mean, I watched one over the weekend, another documentary type of thing, which was on Prime Video. I think it was L.A. rock Scene Part 2 or something, and they go through that whole period where they're talking about the Sunset Strip and all the clubs there and how, you know, when Motley Crue started and what that was like and all these other bands that were starting. I'm really into those types of documentaries and those type of movies where it kind of brings you back in time. For me, that was a very special time in the 80s. Like I wish, you know, sometimes I wish I was a little older back then. And because when I moved to Toronto to become a musician and everything. I was a musician, but I was trying to, you know, go up in levels as far as, you know, joining a band, making it, whatever it was in the music business, going up that level. I had to get out of here where I live now, basically a small town to a big city. But if that would have been 10 years before, like if I would have been, you know, 19 or 18 when I left Grand Falls, if that would have been 1980 or something, I would have probably ended up in California and the Sunset Strip and lived through, well, hopefully lived through that whole scene and everything that was happening back then in that area, because that was the type of music that I was super into. And, you know, I just loved metal and I loved, you know, even the 80s air bands and stuff. I grew up on that stuff, so I would have fit right into that whole scene. So I like to watch documentaries or things about bands from that era that are pretty interesting when you really get the backstory of these people and what they've, you know, I don't think we'll ever see a time like that again for music. Some people think that it was all cheesy music and all this stuff, but man, just the atmosphere and the culture back then, it was free, open. It was just, you know, a lot of access, and it was just crazy. It just felt different. I don't think we'll ever see that in our lifetime again. So I like to see these types of movies. But this one, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard some good things about it as far as the reviews and things. So if you're into that, check it out. It's called Mean Man, the story of Chris Holmes. And if you have Prime Video, if you don't have Prime Video, I think you can just open up a Prime account, you know, like a free 30-day account, I believe, with Prime or with Amazon, and just, you know, watch some movies and stuff and just cancel it before the month's over and, you know, get away with it. But it's not that I'm a Prime member, so I pay like I think $99 a year to have like some of the Prime Amazon Prime membership. So it gives you the Prime Video, it gives you like free shipping on stuff and all this other things that come with that membership. So check it out if you're into that stuff. Let's go to the other story. Here we are. So apparently Tommy Iommi has been speaking with Rob Alford about I don't know if you guys remember Heaven and Hell. That was Tony Iommi's band with Ronnie James Dio. And you know, this was after the whole Black Sabbath and everything was kind of on a hiatus or something. They formed a band called Heaven and Hell, and Dio and Tony and I believe Geezer was in it. But it was really cool. But now, obviously, Dio is not around, so Tony and Rob were speaking about doing that version of the band, and Rob Alford would be singing, and you know, that would be pretty cool to see. I mean, I don't know. I love Dio, so I don't, you know, Rob Halford's great, but to me, Dio's voice was more appealing. But I would be interested to see what would come out of that collaboration with these two, because, man, two metal masters there. But apparently that's put on hold now. They were speaking about it, so it might still happen, but with things the way they are, I think around the world, I think they're going to wait till things start to kind of get back to normal and they can start speaking about maybe doing that project, because I think Rob Halford is still planning to do a lot of Priest stuff and going on tour once that starts. So maybe the time's not right, but I mean, these guys are not young, so if they're going to do it, they got to start thinking about doing it now, in my opinion anyway. So, but that could be a pretty interesting project. So keep an eye out. Hopefully we'll see that in the near future. Somebody that's in a little trouble here recently, Marilyn Manson, charged with some sexual assault issues that came out in the last couple of weeks. I believe he's been arrested. He's been dropped by his record company, I know that. And he's not in a good place. He is, Marilyn Manson has always been a little bit on the weird sign, right? The weird side, I should say. So it doesn't surprise me, but some of the allegations that are coming out against him from some of these girls it's pretty bad. And I mean, and some people that know about it outside of these girls have come out as well and said that this is all true and this has happened. And so not a good thing, not a good thing. And Marilyn, like I said, he's a strange dude, but he's going to end up in jail, I think. In my opinion, anyway. It looks like it doesn't look good. Let's put it that way. So all his record companies and his publishing deals, all that stuff, I believe, are disappearing at this point. So don't get involved in that shit, folks. All right, let's look at the next story. Maynard, Mr. Tool, singer from Tool. You guys know him, James Maynard. Keenan. Apparently he's got COVID, and this is the second time he's got it, and this time it's bad. I mean, he got, I believe it was back before COVID was even a thing. Like, it was just starting out, I believe, in December. And in January he was sick, and then he got tested in February, I believe, and then he found out that he had it. He got through it, apparently. And in November, it started again, and he got tested again, and he had it. It came back. And this time he had to go to the hospital. He's been in ICU and he's having a hard time breathing. Right now, he's apparently out of the hospital, but still having a lot of complications with his lungs, not able to breathe properly. So we wish him the best. I hope that he can pull through. He's a great artist, great singer. I don't know if you guys are into Tool or anything, but he's definitely a unique character, but really, really great artist. So, yeah, apparently he's not doing the greatest, and it's kind of weird that this COVID thing, that he got it and his body didn't develop the antibodies to fight it a second time. The second time it came around, and it was worse than the first time. So the first time he said it was more like a cold and feeling, weak and stuff, nothing crazy. But this time it's affected his lungs big time. So wish him the best, and hopefully he can get through it. And our last story of the evening is Rush. It looks like, well, it's not going to be called Rush, but it looks like Alex and Lifeson and Geddy Lee are looking to write music again. They had spoken about it before Geddy Lee was, I guess a few years ago, after Neil passed anyway. But Geddy Lee was in the process of writing his book, the big bass book there. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's a great book. But he was spending all his time getting that ready. So he told Alex that he didn't want to jump into a music project at that point. But now I guess they've been speaking in the last couple of months about doing it. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. I mean, if Geddy Lee is singing, and then it's going to sound Rush, because Rush is that voice, right? It's that sound. And so I don't know. It'll be an interesting project if they do decide to go that route and write some music. It's good that they're going to do that. I believe these guys still have a lot of music to offer and to write. But they've been through quite the career already. So let's keep an eye out and see what comes out of that. I'm pretty sure it's still going to sound like Rush, but obviously Neil's not going to be there. And Neil was a huge part of writing a lot of lyrics. And so maybe it'll be a different direction. Really interested to see how that comes out. There's no dates here or anything like that says that when this will happen, just that they're in talks and looking at possibly starting to write soon. So keep an eye out for that. So there you go. That's our news for Monday. What is it? February 8th. February 8th, folks. It's going by fast. We already got through January pretty quick. All right, so let me go back down to the chat, see if we've missed anything else here. Cool. Let's see. And again, if you do have a question for me, tag me in the chat and I'll see it. Okay, I see Spacey Jazzy Bluesy. Okay, you sent me the track. Cool. So I'll be looking at that and hopefully, I don't know if I can pull it off, but I'll try. Brad says, hope he can sing Tool again. Yeah, because that's the one thing, right? Some of the stuff that he sings is not just your run-of-the-mill stuff, so it's going to be challenging for him, especially if he's going to have lung issues and stuff for the rest of his life. If that really did some damage, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. On that. Let's see. I have coworkers that have gotten COVID twice, and the second time was, oh, really? See, I'm not too familiar with folks that have had it twice. I've always, thought once you've got it, that your body would build some sort of immunity to it, and if you could get it again, but it'd be a lot less severe because your body could fight it a lot more. But wow, that's not too good to hear. Mike Portnoy is probably that would be a great pairing there for sure. He could pull it off, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm interested to see what would come out of that project if it does come together. Guitar Man's looking forward to Alex and Getty. Yeah, it will be an interesting thing if it happens. Let's see. Brian says, hearing that people can get it twice makes me think the vaccine isn't going to do much. Well, the vaccine, let's hope. I mean, who knows, right? Who knows? I'm not an expert in this stuff, and I've never even had a flu vaccine. I'm not a needles guy, and I've never, and I never, thank God, fingers crossed, knock on wood, never really got a bad flu or anything. But these vaccines that they're putting out, they're tested, but some people don't react the same way to certain vaccines and medications. So it's not going to be a silver bullet for everybody to kind of say we're all good. We'd have to wait and see. But I don't know. The thing with COVID and everything is it's great that they're doing all this stuff and they're coming, making vaccines and stuff. But you know what they never talk about? They never talk about, what you should be doing regularly, your health, like the foods you should be eating, exercise, things like that to build up your body and immune system. All they're looking to do is find drugs to treat this, and they, lockdowns and things like they never talk about that other stuff. So I don't know. Sometimes it's a wrong approach to me that with something like that, and especially when you hear who's dying from this stuff always has all these other factors in it. If they were healthy people and took care of themselves and stuff, they probably wouldn't die from it. They'd probably still get it and still have some complications and things. But most of the people that die from that, they say it's COVID, but COVID was just one of the factors in their death. It's a lot of times they've had some quite serious issues with them before COVID, and COVID just came in and kind of that was it after that. But they never talk about that. They just say, he died of COVID, and they, underlying conditions sometimes. But I don't know, it gets you scratching your head sometimes to think. And the other thing I found out was that hospitals and these places that mark it as a COVID death, the hospital itself will get more money, treating a COVID patient, and if they die of COVID, and they're like, something about that came out the other day, which was, so if you're a doctor and you've got a patient there that's about to die, but he's got, serious lung conditions and everything else, but he happens to have COVID, well, I think your motivation to say this person died of COVID and not of these other things, their motivation to say the COVID thing is more likely if they're going to make more money for their organizations and their hospitals and stuff. I don't know. Like, that seems to me unethical and not really the right way to approach it. I don't know if it's all this is true that that's happening, but that's what I've heard. And I don't know. I think the numbers are skewed, and they tell us that all these people died of COVID. But if we really looked into it, I think we'd be surprised that some of these things might be marked as a COVID death that were not really. So, yeah, that's the issue with socialized medicine. That's true. They should get less money if the patient dies, not more. I know. Like, it seems skewed to me. It doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't calculate for some reason. But you never hear people or these medical people come up and say, let's have a healthier lifestyle, let's do this, let's stop this, promote that type of stuff to really pick up your immune system. And so when something like that happens, when there's a pandemic or a virus or something, at least you have a chance to fight this. But they never talk about that. They just talk about, let's shut her down, let's stop people from seeing each other, let's wear masks, that stuff they'll talk about all day. But the real issue is that people, and what we're doing now, I don't want to get into a whole rant about COVID right now. I'm just going to say this last thing and then let's move on. What they're doing now with all the wash your hands, yeah, that's fine. Put the mask, don't touch anybody, stay 6 feet apart, all that. What they're actually doing to people is people will not be able to fight the common cold down the road because their immune system won't know how to do it, because we're sanitizing everything about our body that's not natural. It's natural for us to get bacteria and for our body to be introduced to some of these things in order for it to create the cells it needs to fight that stuff. If you're already going there ahead of time and stopping all this stuff from happening, what happens when you do go back to some normalcy and you take off the mask and you're able to talk and do everything that you did before and people don't wash their hands as much or whatever, the common cold will come along and your body will be like, oh, I haven't seen this in a year or 2 years. What the hell? And then people really get a lot worse conditions, in my opinion, because their body is not prepared to fight that stuff anymore. It's been kind of put aside and said, I don't know what that is. Like this year, they said that the cases of flu have gone down like probably 85% in this flu season that we're in. Yeah, well, that's because everybody's wearing masks and all. But does that mean that after this situation with COVID is somewhat under control, that they'll say, well, oh, look what it did with the flu and all that. So now if we want to keep everybody always like this, let's keep them wearing masks and doing all this social distance. And like this could be like they're going to open up a Pandora's box if I don't know what can be done at this point, but that's what's happening, right? So your body needs to have some kind of way to get these, you have to be introduced to bacteria and things like that. If you're always like super careful with everything and your body's never able to adjust and get that stuff in its system to actually know what it is and to fight it, I don't know. It doesn't seem right to me, but who knows? I'm not a doctor, or I play one on TV. Maybe that's what I should do. I should play a doctor on TV, do a live stream, Dr. Brian. But I guess we'll have to see. Time will tell. Let's go down. Brad says, exactly, look at all the allergies kids have today, sanitized to death, no natural immunization. Yeah. Think about when you were a kid, all the stuff you did and all this stuff that we never thought about, like picking up stuff off the ground or whatever it was, but you didn't see the stuff we're seeing today and some of the kids and the diets that we had back then compared to what we are doing today to kids. Man, the level of diabetes and everything else that's going on in the world is just crazy. But, hey, BV, how's it going? Yeah, I know it's BV, but that's just an opinion I have, basically, on how everything's going. So I can't say what, if everything is going to work out the way that I think. I can just say that those are my concerns. Yeah, we used to eat dirt as kids. Ride bikes without helmets. I know, right? I can't believe I lived through that. I'm glad I did, but man, the stuff that I did and to do it today, I often think if we had the internet back then, and cameras and all that stuff. I don't know, man. Some of the stuff I think back on, it was like, wow, can't believe that happened. But yeah, there you go. Yes, eat more dirt. Is that what we've got out of this? There we go. All right, so let me go back here. That's good. And as far as guitars, I did put in an offer for a Stratocaster that I saw on Reverb, a Canadian. It was a Toronto guy, a guy in Canada that had it, 1956 reissue. It was red though. I can't find, the white ones are just like impossible to find unless I buy a brand new one. And in my budget rate that I'm looking for, I don't think it's going to happen. So I was going to settle on this red one, not settle. I mean, it had everything that I want from the custom shop guitar that I'm looking for, everything, the exact year reissue, the neck profile, the pickups, everything was exactly the way I wanted, except for the color was red, which I don't mind. I mean, colors, I can fluctuate. I can be okay. There's certain ones that I don't want. I don't want a pink sparkle or anything like that. But, you know, a red or what do you call that blue one there? It's Lake Placid blue or something like that. That's cool. Even a sunburst or something like that, relic would be cool. But yeah, so I did put in an offer on it. The guy never responded, so I don't know if he just, well, obviously he didn't accept it because I didn't get an email back from him saying that he would accept it. But I thought at least that we would get like a counter offer, because I looked today and it's still there on Reverb. So I don't know if he's not looking at his emails or whatever, but the offer expires after, I believe, 24 hours or something like that. So I don't know if it disappears off his end. If I put in an offer and it's sitting in his email or inbox or whatever, when he comes back to Reverb, if it's gone after 24 hours, or will he see it? I don't know. I don't deal with Reverb too much, so maybe you guys know more. So that didn't happen, but I'm still looking around, but haven't seen anything. So go for something different like the blue. Yeah, like I said, I'm not stuck on colors anymore. I really just need it to be the certain neck profile. I want the maple fretboard, and I also want the 50s pickup combinations in it. So I'm still looking. We'll see what happens. Sniff more. Test the glue when you build your models. There you go. Did you hear about, that's not Tesla, but it's Tesla. Did you hear today that that Mr. Musk, what's his name, Elon, bought 1.5 billion in Bitcoin? So he's going to start accepting Bitcoin apparently as payment for his cars. And Bitcoin, if some of you don't know, is a currency that is kind of in development, or has been in development for a few years now, and is starting to pick up a lot of, because we're printing so much money, I guess that there are a lot of folks out there that think, you know, the big players or the major folks with money are saying the value of the dollar is going to take a huge hit because there's just too much in the pipeline, that a lot of people are going into these cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. So Bitcoin today saw, like after that announcement, it went up like, I think 13.9%. And the funny thing about that is I'm looking at investing, doing some investing this year a little bit, you know, not a crazy amount of money, but just a little bit, just to get into the market and start to learn and to kind of play around with, you know, what's out there, because, you know, you can put your money in a savings account and maybe make 0.0001% a year if you're lucky, but there's some really good opportunities there. And this Bitcoin thing, so I started an account with another company yesterday to start into that, and it's all done with Bitcoin. And I checked my account today, and I had gone up by 15% in, you know, one night. So, you know, for example, if I would have put 10 grand in there, I would have made whatever, 1,300 or whatever, 1,350, I believe, in a couple hours. So it does move fast, and they're saying that Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies that are out there are going to start going up a lot. One Bitcoin is worth, I believe, $50,000. One. So when you're doing Bitcoin and all this stuff, it's by decimals. So you see 0.00012 of Bitcoin. That's what I have in my account. But if I had one Bitcoin, it would be worth 50 grand. But they're saying it could go up to as much as 250 grand by the end of the year, the way that the market is moving. So I'm going to play around with that. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm not putting a lot of money into it because, I'm only putting what I'm comfortable in losing. If I lose it, like I wouldn't be like going, oh my God, I'm going to throw myself off a bridge or something. So I'm going to play around with that. I'll let you guys know how that goes. I didn't buy any GameStop. No, I looked at it, but that went up real quick and it went down real quick. So stuff like that, you have to be very careful with. If you can time it right, you can make a hell of a lot of money. Because I know a guy in the States that timed it exactly right. He put in, I think he put in like $5,000 or something in GameStop. The guy came out with $150,000 or something in one day. It's like insane. But those things don't happen a lot. So, and it's a very, very dicey area to play in. So be careful if you're getting into that. But I'll let you know. The thing I'm getting into is a lot more stable and it's a lot more, kind of a long-term play. But it is interesting. So I'll let you guys know. Let's see. All right, so there you go. Let me just check something on my stream here. It looks good. Looks good. All right, we got a good crowd in here tonight. That's awesome. So I want to go here and here. So I was going to play the telly for a song because I do have that patch all ready to go. Oh, the other thing I wanted to tell you guys is I put a pre-order in on something. Some of you guys probably know what it is, but we've seen a lot of coverage about this unit in the last week. YouTube people were doing a bunch of reviews on it. It's from a company called Neural DSP. It's called the Quad Cortex. It's like a Helix, a little smaller than a Helix, but it's got 4 times the power as a Helix. It's got 4 processors in it. Really, real cool thing that came out. It actually came out or was introduced at NAMM last year, so last January. And I tried it out there, but again, it was just a prototype back then, and you really couldn't, it was like 5 minutes of playing around. Couldn't really tell anything crazy, but they've had the year to develop the thing, and they've put a lot of work into it, and some of the people that have reviewed it are pretty high on it. And the thing that it does that I'm really interested in is that capture thing where you can capture actual pedals, like you could bring in your own pedal and put it in. And the things that I've seen as far as demos of people doing that and A-Bing like the real pedal with the captured pedal, it's dead on. I mean, and the amps are as well. So I'm looking forward to trying that. I put in the pre-order last week at Long McQuaid. They've got it on their site, and I've got a friend here that manages a local Long McQuaid store. So I called him up last week and said, can you put my name down for that? So I don't know if it's going to get here in the next month, or they started shipping, I believe, last week. But as far as getting in Canada, could be another month or so before we start seeing them here. So I'll let you guys know as soon as I get one. Again, with that whole thing I've got 30 days with it anyway, so I figured what the hell, I'll just pre-order it, bring it in the studio here and start playing around with it and see if it's crazy different than the Helix, or if there's a lot more that I can do with it and I'm comfortable with that, then I might get rid of the Helix and just keep that. So it's an interesting piece of technology, and it does have a lot of power behind it. And the things you can do with it are pretty impressive. And I do like the interface a lot more than the Helix, where you have the switches where you can turn the rotary dials and stuff. So you see your amp interface on the screen, and you can turn dials. And it's very tactical that way. And that's what I noticed when I played with it at NAMM. It was very much that way, which I really enjoyed. So, and they're just getting started with releasing updates to it. So it's going to get better and better, and they're going to add a lot more effects. And some of the great folks that are out there in our community, guitar community, that have all these huge collections of great amps and stuff, are going to be doing profiles with this thing. So you'll be able to go and buy a profile pack of maybe, like Marshalls and things that were directly profiled from the real thing. And from what I've heard, they're pretty darn good. There's Rebea in UK that did some of his amps and kind of A-B'd them directly after he did the capture. And I mean, unless they're using smoke and mirrors there, then they're just trying to make it because they're promoting the product. I understand that, but some of the guys that I follow are pretty honest with that stuff as far as I know. I'll find out myself when I get it. I mean, that's why I want to get one in my hands to try it myself and to test it in my environment with my studio here. But it looks like a real interesting product. It's a lot smaller than the Helix. It doesn't have the expression pedal built in. So if you need a wah or a volume pedal, it has 2 expression ports on it that you can just buy like an expression pedal, like a Mission expression pedal, and just add it to the setup and you're good to go. It does have the wah and the volume pedals built in. It's just it doesn't have the physical like pedal with it like the Helix has a physical wah there. So yeah, it should be pretty interesting. Hey, Mr. Stafford Music Studio. How's it going, my friend? Yeah, nice shirt. Well, I'm waiting for you to send me my shirt. I haven't got my shirt from you. I'm supposed to get one from you. Remember, I'm a moderator in your channel and I was promised a great shirt. I'm just kidding, buddy. But yeah, I'll wear it if you send it. Let's see. I've never used an expression pedal on my Helix LT, not once. Yeah, I use it for the wah. I mean, I like the wah sometimes. I don't use a lot, but I think if I do get that Neural DSP unit, I will get an expression pedal with it just to kind of play around and test the stuff. Yeah, a lot of people have this shirt. It seems to be a popular shirt in our community, Marshall and Gibson. And every time I go to stores like Musics or whatever, I always go to their shirt section to see if there's something there that I can pick up that I don't have. Because I've got a lot of them now. I've got Boss, Marshall, Gibson, Mesa. I don't have a Friedman one. I'd like to get a Friedman one. I've got Fender. So yeah, I always look at the shirts. Seems to be my wardrobe is all either motorcycles or guitars. That's all my shirt department. So interesting wardrobe. Let's put it that way. All right, what time is it? Okay, so we're gonna play the telly to end the night with. Let me see. Let me see here. Oh, Brian S. Yeah, I tried the mini rectifier. I was not crazily impressed on it. Not that it sounds like a rectifier. It sounds like a Mesa. It sounds good, but when I tried the bigger version of it, like I did have the Triple Crown amp for a while, and I tried that, and I tried the Mark V, and I tried the Triple Crown and stuff, and I thought the Triple Crown sounded really good, so that's what I ended up with for a while, and then I kept going back to Friedman, and then I traded, and then I just stuck with my Helix for a while. You know, I'm that way. I'm not opposed to having physical amps in my studio, but I do have to move one to get another one in and stuff. I still have my Fender Tone Master down there, but the Tone Master is really, really good, but it's kind of become more of an FR thing, if you want to look at it that way, because my Helix runs through it, and when I play through it, I just sometimes if I want an amp in the room type of feel, I just go through that amp, and it works for that, for me anyway. It sounds pretty good for that. The speaker in it's, you know, it's a neodymium, I believe. So they're really light speakers. So that old amp is like 20 pounds, very light for what it is. But I mean, it could be a better speaker in there, I suppose, if you ever wanted to change that. But it's got a Class D power amp in it, so you got to be careful if you're going to put in like a Celestion, you know, whatever, 75 watt speaker or something. You'd have to check to make sure that if you do change it, that you wouldn't blow it, because the power amp is different than the tube amp. So yeah, so there you go. I don't know why you'd want a Mesa if you've got that Friedman. That Friedman is amazing. So keep that. Keep that, folks. All right, so let's go to the telly. We'll play a song, and then I'll come back and we'll call it an evening. And yeah, that's what we'll do. All right, give me 1 second. All right. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, cool. There you go, a little AC/DC with the telly. Kind of like the sound of the telly for AC/DC stuff. This pickup, brilliant, brilliant pickup. Probably the best pickup I've ever played as far as a single coil. Just amazing. So there it is. All right. So yeah, that was a AC. Well, actually, it was a cover of an AC/DC. So there you go. Hey, Clive, how's it going, my friend? Let me go back to my other cam here. Cool, cool. All right, let me go to my headphones. There we go. So yeah, that brings us to almost the top of the hour. Look at that. What great timing, eh? Look at that. Great song. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite AC/DC songs. So fun to play. It's not a hard song, so if you're ever looking for something to jam with and learn, if you're into AC/DC, check that one out because it's definitely a fun song to play. Not very hard, but it does groove really nice. You probably will get a copyright strike. Probably not a strike. I'm sorry, bring that back. A claim, because I have played that in the past on my stream, and I always get a claim for it. So, but I'll probably get a claim for the Wasp one too. Who knows? But I mean, I don't care. I don't monetize this channel. It's just a lot of fun. So if you're playing and bored and you want to jam out to some AC/DC, check that one out. There you go. Yeah, the telly works awesome for that type of music, especially with the patch that I've got set up on the Helix. It's using more of a plexi-ish type of sound. It just kind of like, I don't know what it is with that single coil pickup and that telly. It just works awesome for that type of stuff. I tried playing the Wasp song with the telly like before the stream started because I was looking for a Wasp song to try, and I just wasn't feeling it with the Wasp sound or whatever. But man, that AC/DC or rock type of, a classic rock stuff just works amazing for that stuff. Okay, let me see. Okay, so everything's cool there. All right, well, thank you very much for joining me. So I'd like to end the show with my original that I released a few weeks ago. For those who haven't seen it, you can stick around and watch it. It's about a 3-minute song. That was the first original I released. I put it on DistroKid, so I registered and published it. I want to go through the process of working with DistroKid because as an artist, having music out there with Smeer, we did it through the record companies that we were with back then, and it got registered. It's still under my name, but it's registered through Apple Music and everything else. But now that I'm starting to write again and I want to release my own songs and stuff, so DistroKid is a lot, for the package you get. I think it's $19 a year you pay, and they do a lot of the work for you. You just submit your song, your artwork, and then you can get it put out on all the platforms, and they track everything for you. So they tell you, if somebody played your song, how many times, and if there's any monetization to be done on it, it will be done as well. It also puts it in iTunes, so if somebody wants to buy the song for 99 cents or whatever, they can do that. So I just wanted to kind of go through the process and set up an account with DistroKid and see how that all worked, and it's pretty seamless. So I do recommend it if you're into writing your own original music. Even if you're not planning to do anything crazy like, selling it and all that stuff, it's still a good idea to put it there. So that way it gets registered into your name. So as far as copyrights and things down the road, you don't have any issues. It's yours. So it's something to look into if you're into it. So again, thank you very much for joining me. Next Monday, we'll be back. Last Monday, I didn't stream, obviously, again, because of the computer issues, but we've got the computer back. Seems to be running okay. So we'll run with that. And yeah, there you go. Oh, I did want to get to something. Yeah, let's do this. Before we go, let me see. Let me see if I can do this. I wanted to bring something up for Brad because Brad is in our chat here. He should still be here. And he did send me something. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Brad's a member of our community here. Brad Egan is his name. And he built some, well, he's quite handy with tools and stuff. So he built a guitar. Well, this is a bass that we're looking at, but man, it is impressive. Very, very nice. I wanted to show that to you guys before we go. So let me see if I can, how will I do that? Let me go to my screen here. All right, so if I want to do that, I didn't have time to set this up ahead of time because of it just came in late. Can I do that? Probably not. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can. Just give me 1 second. There is a way, because I want to show it from my phone. Let's see. Let me do this and see if that works. Hold on, you're just seeing black screen here, but hang in there, folks. I will get this working just because I'd like to show you guys what this guy can do, and it's pretty impressive. As a member of our community, I'd like to support him, and I'd like you guys to have a look and support him as well, if I can, because I didn't set it up ahead of time. It's kind of a little bit of a hassle here to try to get it done, but we'll do it. Where's my DI capture? Start broadcast. And then if I go to the iPhone thingy-mingy, and I go here, and I go here, and I go here. All right, so that's working. I'll go my emails, Brad, and download all these pictures. So there you go. This is what Brad, my friend Brad Egan here from Canada. Let me take off the lower third so you can get a better look at it. He built this. Like, that's crazy. Look at this thing. He's a left-handed player, so obviously it's a left-handed bass. Some really nice work. Oops, need that. Why is it doing that? Oh, I guess it's only showing me the two pictures, but anyway, there it is. There's a headstock. This is a 6-string, is it? Yeah. Wow. Really like the wood grain on it. But yeah, he built this. That's insane. And I know that he was working on a telly, and he had sent me something before, but I don't know, Brad, if you're in here, let us know where you're at with that telly. But he's built, I believe, a telly as well. There's a description here. Let me go back to my my other thing. But anyway, here's another look at it for you folks. But definitely impressive work. Building guitars and this type of stuff is not easy, folks. So the time it takes and what he's come up with is really, really cool. So if you want to get a guitar built, maybe check with with Mr. Brad. Here he is. This is who we're talking about, Brad Egan, and hit him up. Brad should start streaming soon. I believe he's looking at maybe streaming and doing some stuff. So maybe one of his shows or the show that he wants to put together might talk a little bit more about his process in building some of these and how he goes about doing it, because it's man, really impressed, man. Really nice, really nice. So let's go back here to this camera. All right, cool. So Brad Egan, folks, a member of our community, doing some great work, great stuff. Great. Okay. We just quit that. All right. So again, let's end the show with the original. And again, the song is called Timestamp, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys have a great week. Hopefully things start to settle down with the COVID situation everywhere that you're located. It's looking a little better over here this week. We'll keep our fingers crossed that it stays that way. I'll try to take some video and some pictures on the weekend if I do get out snowmobiling, which that is the plan, and show you guys what that's all about. And yeah, stay safe, rock and roll, and play some guitar and have some fun, folks. And we'll catch you next Monday, if not sooner. All right? Thanks for joining me tonight, folks, and take care.